Hi, Janine. How are you doing today?
Hi, Kate. I'm doing great. How are you today?
Pretty good, thank you. My name is Kate, and I'll be working with you during our session today. I guess we'll get right to it. I know we talked a little bit about during your filling out that assessment with your wellness vision, but I just wanted to get a sense of today. And so, what kind of brings you in for today?
So, overall, I feel like I'm feeling great, but there's just a few areas of my life that I'd like to work on to improve. And I feel like when my emotions are struggling, that I tend to go towards like a binge eating thing. And so um, I know that's what I had filled out and talked about on the goal. So that's kind of the area I'm thinking about working on.
Right. Yeah, I still have your wellness vision here. I just wanted to make sure we're still on the same page with looking towards that emotional eating aspect for today. So I'll
Hmm.
just kind of talk through the counseling process, just to
Okay.
get our feet on the ground here with what the counseling process will entail. So kind of as we start this process, I like to share my hope of how will be working together. I see myself as kind of the source of information, support, but also inspiration as we work together to find solutions for these nutrition issues. So I hope to assist you in making any behavior changes you hope to make, but ultimately you'll be the one to know what's going to work best in your life. So how does this all sound for you?
That sounds great. I like the fact that you can give me some information and then let me kind of guide the path that I'm going to go on.
Right, perfect. So for our first session today, we'll go over kind of a little bit of the assessment form, but then we'll discuss kind of we'll go over the readiness that you'll have to take action on, kind of making some goals and making a plan to see how ready you are and to kind of make those goals for later today in the session. So now that we've gone over some of the basics of the program, we can explore some of your needs here in greater detail. So we'll kind of go over again the assessment form a little bit here. So thank you for completing the wellness vision with me. The information will be really helpful as we work together to make some goals and find solutions for these issues.
Okay.
So remember in your wellness vision, I have it up here. You stated that I'm emotionally stable enough to handle loneliness, stress, and hard times in life. This is supported through deep breathing and taking a moment to be aware of the food choices I have to reconsider the choice I can make in the moment, or to take a 1 to 2 minute walking break to become fully aware of the emotion. And then,
Mhm.
kind of centering this more towards nutrition, we were going to focus a little bit more on making healthier food choices when feeling stressed, and kind of finding ways to deal with the emotional eating. What do you think of all this? And does this sound kind of right for you?
Yeah, I remember writing that down and it sounds great. And I think sometimes when I'm in a good space, it's easy, but sometimes I get wrapped up in the emotion. And I know because it just happened recently, and I forget all the things I wrote on that goal, like take a walk or take a breath, and I go right into the food.
Right. Yeah, I think that can be a big thing for a lot of people, just to kind of feel like you're going back into the food route. Um, but I guess kind of just to summarize what you kind of went over with the wellness vision, it does seem like you're doing well with things at work and your health and feeling like you're getting fruits and vegetables and working out and feeling like your health overall is pretty good throughout the day, as we kind of talked about in your wellness inventory as well. Um, but you'd also still obviously like to work on the emotional eating aspect, as you pointed out, a recent kind of episode earlier. So another thing that you'd like to work on for today. So yeah, does that all kind of sound right for you?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So we'll kind of look at kind of your readiness to make a change. So I'll just ask a few of the motivational kind of questions for you.
Okay.
So we'll look into kind of assessing motivation. So I know a lot of people differ in their desire to make certain changes in their life, especially about eating habits. So people differ in their desire to make changes, but how do you feel about making a change in your life currently with this?
Um, I think I think I feel good about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of just to narrow it down a little bit more. So on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being not ready at all to make a change, but 10 being
Mhm.
100% ready to make a change, which number do you think represents how ready you are to make this change?
And then the change we're talking about is the change with the emotional eating, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm probably a 7.
7.
Hmm.
All right. Um, yeah, we'll kind of look into more of some of these questions about readiness. So, how often do you feel you make a healthy food choice when you are feeling stressed? Is this like never, once in a while, about half the time, like often or always?
How often do I make a good food choice when I'm
Correct.
stressed?
Yeah,
Um, half the time.
half the time.
Yeah.
All right. And then in the past about 6 months, have you tried to make a healthier food choice when you have felt stress?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then how successful were you? Do you feel were you very successful, somewhat successful, or do you feel you were not successful with this?
I can remember being successful like a handful of times. So if I would kind of take all the times when I think about feeling stressed and the times like I chose to make better eating choices and the times I didn't, I'd say, wait, what were my choices again?
Yeah, for this one, it was just kind of very successful, somewhat
Oh,
successful, or not successful.
so I'd say somewhat successful.
Somewhat successful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you think you can kind of explain more about what you thought helped to make those attempts successful?
Hmm. I think I had, when I came home and I was feeling really, really hungry and stressed about my day, I had food ready to go. So, like, I had peppers cut, or I had carrots cleaned, or like I was in a state where I could pause enough to reach for that versus going in and grabbing a bag of chips or something.
Right. Yeah. I think those are some things that we could keep in mind as well for like setting some goals later in the session here. Um, so the next question is, are you seriously thinking about choosing healthier food choices when you're feeling stressed over the next about 6 months?
Yes, I want to be. Like I
Yes.
want to do that. It's just that
Hmm.
when I'm feeling stressed, I want something to satisfy that. Like I want the salty and the fat and this, and so peppers aren't as satisfying when you're in a state of stress. But yes, I
Yes.
want to.
Yeah. So how confident are you that you think you can change your diet to make healthier food choices when you're feeling stressed? Would you say very confident, somewhat confident, not very confident, or you just don't really know?
I'd say I'm confident as long as I'm not having to be confident 100% of the time. I think I could be confident doing it maybe starting at like 50, 60, 70%. But I think if I try to set myself up to do 100%, I think I'll feel like I will throw my hands up and give up.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense because it's hard to put yourself at feeling like you're gonna be 100% to do anything.
Right. And that would make me stressed.
Right. Um, okay, so you kind of noted that you're aware of like the healthier food choices that you can make when you're feeling stressed, and you feel like you are like around a level 7 out of 10 for how you feel motivated to make this change, and you feel like even though you're not going to probably be 100%, that you feel like you might be at least kind of feel like you're going to be a little bit successful here, even if it's just not going to be 100%, but you're going to find that you are going to be successful if you work on these goals to make these changes, correct?
Yep,
Oh,
you kind of froze for
did
a
I
minute.
pause?
So, no, that's okay. It just froze for a minute. So, I got to the point where you said that I feel like even though I can't be 100%, I know that I can be somewhat successful at this and set a goal. But then the video froze. So, you were just kind of still.
Yeah, I think I just kind of said around the same thing, actually. Oh,
Yeah.
let me see. Of that you feel like you're kind of ready to make the change.
Mm, yeah,
Okay,
I do feel like I'm ready to make the change.
perfect. Mm. Great. So it sounds like you're working hard on really trying to create that balance in your life of working out and eating, but you know, like about fruits and vegetables and how healthy they can be to support your diet. Um, and you're also working hard on trying to reduce your stress levels and also like be aware of that when you feel like they're coming on, you're like aware of those things as well.
Mhm.
So kind of with all this in mind, do you have any ideas on how you would like to go about kind of creating goals and making this change?
Well, yeah. It's a tricky one to make a goal with because you don't I can't predict when I'm going to come home and feel that or not. So I want to set a goal. I'm not sure how to go about setting that goal.
Right,
Because it's not like I'm trying to say I want to include more fruit. I just want to make a different choice when I'm feeling stressed.
exactly. Yeah, and I can kind of I'll explain like our goal setting process, but then I'll kind of give some ideas maybe, and then that can kind of help to, as we'll work together to create some goals maybe, and I'll see
Okay.
how you like those ideas as well. So
Okay.
for goal setting, we like to use the term SMART goal, if you're familiar with that, to guide us through making these goals. So it means that they're going to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant. We also like to use rewarding and they're also going to be time bound. So kind of keeping those parameters in mind, we'll try to use those to help create our goal so that they
Okay.
can be achievable for for what you're looking for. But we also like to look at using this kind of tiny habit model. And I like this one because it kind of centers you on using an existing habit to create your goal off of. So it kind of goes off of like, after I do this, an existing habit, I'm gonna start doing this, which will be your new habit. So for example, I had one created where after I pour my cup of coffee, I will eat a piece of fruit. Does that kind of make sense? Whereas
Yes.
my coffee was my existing habit, but then I was going to add a piece of fruit for my new habit.
Hmm.
So we can kind of think about that as kind of like a base for like creating the goals.
Yeah.
But what you said earlier about kind of how tricky it might be for addressing emotional eating, I was thinking about maybe how we could kind of look at areas within your day that you might feel like you might be stressed or areas that feel like they might be a good point to like a point of intervention, I guess. So like maybe it's early in the morning or it's coming home from work and seeing how we can maybe create certain habits around food, whether it's like prepping certain foods to have them easily accessible, or doing something like that around those certain times of day where you might be more like where stress might come more often for you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. Hmm.
Yeah. So, do you have any more kind of ideas on how you might want to implement that within a SMART goal for yourself?
Well, when you were just talking about thinking about the time of day, it is always, it happens when I'm coming home from work. And
Mhm.
even though I can feel some stress at work because I only bring certain foods to work, it's never a problem because I that's not an option, right? So when I'm at work, the option is I can get up, go get some water, take a walk. I can eat whatever's in my lunch bag, which is great because I don't have that because those options aren't there. So I think we can create a SMART goal. And I think it just really has to focus on that time of day of coming home and then I think it also, I have to figure out a way to be sure that I have things at the ready to grab too.
Yeah. So we could even use that could to kind of create two different like but specific SMART goals. One about prepping food and having that ready, but also one about like when you're going to eat that certain food,
Mhm.
if you need it in
Got it.
that case. Does that sound achievable for you?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So what are I guess what are some things that you think might be easy to like prep ahead of time or pack and that could help with this?
Well, I think the easy things, because when I feel like that, I know I want something kind of crunchy. So I think I either want to have like peppers cut or carrots cleaned, or it's not a big deal for me to take an apple out and cut it. So I don't know why that shouldn't get in the way, but it's just not as easy as opening that bag. So I think I have to just be more conscious of being sure those things are more at the ready or more at the forefront. Does
Yeah,
that make
and that
sense?
yeah, and I think that could easily work into like the tiny habit goal that we kind of want to work towards. So it could be a good reminder for like when you're doing this, such as maybe you're cleaning out your lunch bag. So after I clean out my lunch bag, I will grab my carrots, my like cut up carrots or my apple
Hmm.
or something.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? And is that
Yep.
something you would be interested in?
Yeah. Does it have to be so like when we make this goal, does it have to state like, I'll put my lunch away and I'll get carrots, or it can be like, I'll empty my lunch and I'll take carrots, or like, how specific does it have to be? Do we have to name the food or not necessarily, or it's a good idea to? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to name out maybe just a couple different foods.
Okay.
Because if I don't want to make you only eat carrots for
Right.
the next 5 days. Um,
Right.
but because yeah, I think but just putting oh, I'm just gonna eat a crunchy food would be, but I think just having a few different options or even just writing out a crunchy vegetable or a crunchy
Yeah.
fruit, that would
Yeah.
be a good, more specific goal.
Right. And I think too, if I only put like crunchy carrots or apples, then if I don't have that, that'll be the reason like, well, I can't do it. So that's like I want
Yeah.
to create, I want it to be successful. So I think putting the options is a great idea as opposed to just saying healthy food or crunchy vegetable. I think we should be specific.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever I think what you think will work best for you will be a better option.
Yeah.
Just because some people know that they would work better with saying a certain food, but others might be better with just saying a crunchy vegetable and having
No,
more
I
of the
think I want
options
to put
open.
the options. And then
Yeah,
when I grocery shop, like I'll front load that when I grocery shop to be sure whatever I'm writing down, I'm sure I'm going to be buying to have.
right. Yeah. So for this first goal, we could probably say after I, do you want to do it after you said you empty your lunch or you do your lunch at the
Yeah,
end of the day?
that's the first thing I do when I come home. I always bring my lunch bag into the kitchen and I empty out all my dishes into the sink. And then that would be a good cue for me to remember that that's the next thing is if I'm hungry, I'm going to go for the crunchy veggies or
Mhm.
fruits.
And then which kinds of specific fruits or vegetables did you want to put down for
I
this
want to
school?
put carrots, red peppers, apples, and I want to add celery with peanut butter because I will never eat celery plain.
Yeah. And I think even to make it a little bit more specific, we could even add um, a certain amount to make it a little bit more measurable too. So
Okay.
maybe we could say um, a handful or
Yeah.
one
Let's
apple
let's
or
do and the other thing is then balancing out not eating too much so that I'm hungry for dinner.
right.
So then I think it'll be like yeah, I think one small apple, two sticks of carrots, one celery stick with peanut butter,
Mhm.
and a half of a red pepper.
Yeah, so I think even for most of these, we could even just say or round it out to about a half cup of each.
Okay,
Does that sound
that sounds right. Yeah.
right? And then, um, so this goal we're making so far is pretty specific. We made it pretty measurable with the amounts. It's attainable for you because you mentioned going to be able to go to the store to buy these certain things. Realistic as well because it's something that you do every day. Is your empty your lunch. Um, and then time bound. So with this, we kind of want to think about having an end or an end in sight. So do you want to maybe work on this for the next 5 days or the next week? And then we can check back in then.
Let's see. Let's do a 1 week goal.
Yeah,
So let's check in a week from today. So next week,
1 week.
Monday.
I'm not sure the date on that. March 2nd.
Second.
That way we can always check in to see if we need to modify it or change it up a little bit so that we have an
Okay.
end in sight and you're not just going out blindly with this goal. Okay, so this is our first goal that we have. So it says after I empty my lunch, I will eat um, about a half cup of carrots, red peppers, apples, or celery with peanut butter for about 1 week until March 2nd. Does that
Okay.
sound right to you?
Hmm.
Perfect. Okay, so now we can work on the next goal. Do you have any thoughts or ideas on how you might want to approach this next goal?
I don't.
That's okay. So I think we could talk more about, um, I guess like the preparation of these foods, maybe. Um, so I don't know if you want to have these foods maybe more ready for you when you get home, or if you maybe think that having part of the goal before was to kind of cut up those foods before, like as you're going to eat them, or
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to make a goal to prepare these foods ahead of time or not.
I think I could do a prep because I really would want the pepper and the carrot and the celery prepped, at
Hmm.
least washed and at the ready, which is an easy prep to do. I know we're going to check on this goal in a week, so to say I would do it Sunday would have been yesterday. Um, so I'm just trying to figure out when I would do the prep because I'm not going to do it tonight or tomorrow probably. Um,
Yeah, and that's okay too. You can always start it later on before the next time you
yeah,
do it. We don't
I
have to make
actually
it, yeah.
I have the red pepper prepped already. Um, it would just be a matter of prepping celery, which actually I could try to do it in the morning, but that's the only thing I'd have to prep. I don't have the carrots right now, so that's not going to be an option. Um, but I could try to do the celery prep in the morning because that's really easy.
Yeah,
And I usually have 2 minutes in the morning to do that.
right. So you want to add that maybe to your morning routine, it
Yeah, and
sounds
I'm going to
like.
actually try to do that tomorrow morning.
So is there a certain time point in your morning that you would do this after? So after I do this certain habit in the morning, I'll prep this.
After I pack my lunch,
Okay,
then it's all tied to this lunch thing, which
there you
will
go.
almost be easier because I'll take it out and pack it in the morning, and then I'll prep the veggie and put it in the fridge for afternoon. Then when I come home and I empty back tied to the lunch bag again, then I can take it out.
Right, yeah. And you can even write yourself like a sticky note or something too, just as a easy reminder for
Mhm.
um, kind of making sure that you are remembering the goal. All right. So we said after I pack my lunch, I will prep my fruits or vegetables for my snack later in the day. Um, and then for about 1 week again.
Yes, and I'll just prep as needed. So I'll probably prep more than one celery, right?
Yeah.
I'll prep a few. And when I go to the store, I'll be sure to grab the carrots next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, So this one we made specific because again we're referring to the carrots, peppers, apples, the kinds of foods that you'll be eating. Made it measurable because you're gonna cut up those servings of each one, and then attainable because you have access to and you can do this each day or as you need it in the
Yep.
mornings. And then realistic because again you have access to these foods that you can purchase, and
Mhm.
then time bound because we're gonna set another check-in for about a week or so.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So it was a pleasure meeting with you today. You came here because you wanted to dive a little bit more into emotional eating and
Mhm.
looking at some ways we can explore to use some goals to kind of figure out and to address these kinds of problems. Thank you for being open to sharing your thoughts on making changes in your life. We did a good job setting goals to be able to prep and then eat vegetable or fruit these fruits and veggies at a certain time in your day when you're maybe feeling more stressed. I look forward to working with you to make any additional changes. Would you like me to follow up with an email or phone call next week?
Yeah, I think it'll be better if you can email me because then I'll see it in print and then I'll be able to think about my thoughts and type them out.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely follow up with an email for you next week. But thank you for meeting with me today.
Thank you, Kate. Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.